Hey, what's going on? I'm Matt O'Leary back with another video, and today we'll be talking about the impact of the Seattle Seahawks losing and what that means for the New York Jets and their draft in 2021. Before we get started today, I just wanted to mention you can follow me on social media at Matt O'Leary NY, and if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast Just Jets. New episode drops on Mondays now, so new episodes coming tomorrow. All right, so obviously the biggest storyline pretty much all year long was the Jamal Adams trade. The New York Jets moved him for 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick. And obviously a huge part of the New York Jets season, after we figured out very quickly that it was going to be a lost season for the New York Jets, was tracking the Seattle pick and where it could fall. Now, most people assume that it would probably be in the later 20s, maybe around 26, 28, or it could even go up to 32 if they win the Super Bowl this year. But after a first round exit, we know that it's going to fall at either 22, 23, or 24. And these are the 3 different scenarios in which that each, the pick could fall at that slot. So if Chicago beats New Orleans and Cleveland beats Pittsburgh, essentially if New Orleans and Pittsburgh both lose, the New York Jets will be picking 22nd overall in the NFL draft. If one of those 2 teams lose, then it will be 23. And if both of those teams win, it'll be 24. So your rooting interest is to root for the Bears to beat New Orleans and for the Cleveland Browns to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. Both of those things happening would mean the Jets pick 22nd. Again, if they split, if one of those teams lose and the other wins, then it'll be 23rd. And if both of those teams win, which I think is probably the most likely scenario, the Jets will be picking 24th. But still, at absolute worst, it's a 24th overall pick when people thought it would probably be somewhere 26, 27, 28. So it is definitely a massive upgrade for the New York Jets and what we were assuming was going to happen. Another thing I wanted to talk about was just the initial reaction, to the trade that most Jets fans were thrilled with because they got a ton out of it. But this just looks even better because the Seattle Seahawks looked at themselves as a win-now trade or win-now team, so that's why they made the trade, And the addition of Jamal Adams didn't really do a whole lot. They got bounced in the first round. They lost to a team that started its backup quarterback, and Jared Goff played really, really bad football because he's basically hurt still. He was playing hurt, and they still weren't able to beat the Rams. Now, I know that Sean McVay is a phenomenal coach. He did a really great job. They were also without their best player, Aaron Donald, too. So the excuses are really flying out the window. And with Jamal Adams, yes, he played most of the season hurt, but he did not have a good year for Seattle on top of that. So it just looks like the Jets won this trade even more so than originally anticipated. And on top of that, Seattle's going to have to pay this guy $17, $18, $19 million a year after this year. This is going to have to come up now in the discussion. So that's something they're going to have to look to see what they're going to do there. So it's just a problem for Seattle to figure out now, while the Jets are sitting here saying, thank you for the first round pick. Thank you for losing in the first round, something we didn't assume was going to happen. So the Jets will end up picking 22nd, 23rd, or 24th. And with that selection, they can go a bunch of different areas. My preferred option is going with a guard or interior offensive line. If Wyatt Davis falls that far, that would be my pick. If not, then someone like a Vera Tucker from USC I think would be a phenomenal choice there. They can go wide receiver, maybe Rashad Bateman, someone like that if you want to go on the offensive side of the ball. I personally wouldn't. I would wait. I would sign someone in free agency to be a number 1 wide receiver. Then you run back Denzel Mims on the outside on the other side and Jamison Crowder in the slot, and then maybe take someone in the 3rd round to be your 4th wide receiver. I would shy away from tight end. I know some people love Kyle Pitts, who will probably be off the board at that point, or Pat Fryer moved from Penn State, but he'll probably be gone by that point as well. And that's just not something that I'm looking to do at that point. You could also go on the defensive side of the ball, and really the only 2 positions that I think you should be looking at that early are corner or edge. And I like guys like Patrick Jones II, who I think probably could be there at the Jets' 2nd round pick also. But if you wanted to go with a cornerback, Asante Samuel Jr., Sean Wade, there will be options to go with at that pick. So to me, I think you either go interior offensive line, wide receiver on the offensive side of the ball, or on the defensive side of the ball, corner or edge. But now we know that they're going to pick 22nd, 23rd, or 24th. We now know what you have to root for each one of those scenarios. Obviously, we're rooting for the 22nd pick because that's just better than picking 24. And worst case scenario, the Jets pick 24, which is better than what we were assuming we'd get, as we thought maybe somewhere around 28 would be the selection. So thank you. Just wanted to get that out there on what we have to be rooting for today. And that's going to do it for me. Make sure to subscribe if you're new. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll talk to you next time.